Good evening and welcome back to another show with Matt and Joe. I am your host, Matt. Joining me as always, literally right there in his posh entryway. What would you call that? Palace, yeah, but it's like big walls. I don't know. It looks like a place you'd come in and hang your coat. The disembodied, re-embodied voice of Joe.
It's a very big coat closet.
No, I didn't say closet. A place like an entryway. What do you call that?
You hang your coats
Foyer.
in.
Foyer. A giant foyer, as they say in countries where they don't know how to speak English. We have some cool topics to talk about today. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the new Avengers movie, Infinitive War. Infinitive. It's where they discuss grammar errors for for like 3 hours. We're going to be talking about that for part of the show. Why is that? There we go. I was in the dark for some reason. We're going to talk about that. We saw that movie this week. Giving you our thoughts on it. We're going to try and keep it spoiler-free for as long as possible, and then we'll ruin the movie for all of you because it wasn't very good anyway. Right, Joe?
My lips are sealed. I'd give it 50-50.
Hopefully not, because you are a disembodied voice with sealed lips. Some of you have heard me tell that Art Bell story before. Actually, it was George Norrie, where he glued his lips together on live radio.
What?
Yeah, in the middle of a break. He was trying to fix something on his desk in the middle of a break. He accidentally gets super glue on his lip, and like the commercials are about to end, and he's like, "Oh well, here goes nothing." And to like rip his mouth open to continue the next part. Yeah.
Terrible.
So yeah, hopefully your lips are not sealed, because that's not a fun thing to have to deal with. Most are disembodied lately. Okay.
Lips.
Yeah.
Those lips are.
For those of you joining us live, do go ahead and comment in the chat. You can see a tiny, tiny piece of an avatar bubble showing in the white section of the screen right now. That is the live chat. It's always on screen. The first couple chats are free. They don't show up on the screen because the way I formatted it. I'll pretend that's on purpose. But it's there. Go ahead and comment. You'll be part of the show. Whether or not I see it, it's going to be saved in the archive forever. So choose your words wisely, is all I'm really trying to say. If you have anything to contribute to the show, put it in there. Last week, we always get a couple. We always get a couple suggestions for things people want us to talk about. Usually toward the end of the show, and usually things we don't know anything about. So, and we'll go ahead and add those to our recommendations for next week. So go ahead, tell us whatever you need. Whatever you'd like to talk about, and we'll see if we can get that in here for you. Watch out for spoilers for Infinity War. Yes, I'll keep an eye out for your little spoiler alert. Oh my goodness, look how reflective this is. You can literally see the whole other half of the room.
Nice.
It is actually. It's quite nice.
Ha, got the word.
So, quick update. I know people have been wondering. I get a lot of tweets about this. My mouse problem in my house. Been filling you guys in on my traps and how they've been working. A lot of luck with sticky traps, but now I'm only catching mice that are that big. Did you know mice are this big when they're like young? Like they look just like a normal mouse, but it's like 1.5 inches long. Such a shame. Usually they get stuck on the sticky trap and I throw them away, but when they're tiny little mice and they go squeak, 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 I had to Google how to remove safely a mouse from a sticky trap and then put it somewhere outside, because for some reason it's different when all mice are small and cute, but when it's like 1.5 inches long, I couldn't take it. So olive oil, if you don't know, you pour olive oil on a sticky trap, it's no longer sticky. Quickly. I thought it would take a while. No, the mouse gets loose real quick, so put it in a box first. Anyway, so for those of you who really cared, that's the update on that.
Good
Sticky
tip.
traps with olive oil to remove them safely. So there's that. I'm going to go ahead and pop up your screen, Joe, and you can fill us in on some of the things. Did you want to start possibly with the word of the day? Did you have one?
I do.
All right, one sec. Let me make sure you're pulled up. Keep grabbing my screen instead of yours. There we go.
Thunderbolts and lightning.
Very, very frightening.
So today's word of the day. Oh, the chat's just coming up now.
Yeah, that's weird. It's like pop, pop, pop.
Word of the day: bisect.
Bisect.
To cut or divide into two parts.
Oh.
Or, mathematically, to divide an angle, line segment, or other figure into two equal parts.
So, like, if you slice something like a cake, slice a cake down the middle, you're dividing it bisexually.
What?
Bisectionally.
Where did sexuality come into this?
No, sectionally. Bisectionally. What did you hear? That's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said. Okay, well. Yes, if you cut it in half, that would be bisecting. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. No, good word of the day. We'll try and squeeze that in somewhere, if we can. Excellent. All right. Some of your headlines for the week, Joe.
Okay.
I made it, so I'm going to use it.
Was that rapid fire headlines?
It was. Can you see on that monitor?
Yeah, but I was looking at my screen.
Just
Sorry.
double checking, making sure it's up.
I'm trying to think of if I want to start with this or not.
Yeah, go for it. Let's be brave.
Be brave. Yeah. I'm not gonna start with that. Let's. I found this really cool map actually.
All right.
It shows the literal meaning of every country's name.
Ooh.
Actually, I'm gonna find the full-size interactive.
So what you're
map.
saying is, like Los Angeles. Probably doesn't have Los Angeles. It's all countries, right? Los Angeles means like angels, the angels, in Spanish. So it's just like literal translations of the name. Because I see maps like this that are, instead of Texas, it's like fried food and guns, yeehaw, things like that. But this is actual
countries.
Cool, actual literal translations. Cool.
Yeah. So name a country. What country do you want to see?
Uganda.
Uganda. Where is Uganda?
It's in Africa. Oh, they don't have a cheat sheet.
I'm trying to remember where it is.
This is also known as a pop quiz for geography.
There it is.
So,
land of the Ganda people.
Oh, okay.
That was pretty easy.
Really? Okay, go to Great Britain. I wonder how many of those are. Oh, the United States of America.
Ours is the only uninteresting one because it literally means what it says. Yeah.
England. Oh, I knew that.
Yeah, land of the Angles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep. So
Wales, land of the foreigners. Go back to the British Isles.
That was supposed to be rapid fire news.
Scotland. This is Scots. No. These are
rapid fire countries.
The important ones. Yeah. And
Northern Way, Norway.
Look up Wakanda.
Really?
Yeah.
Sorry, it doesn't appear on this map for some reason.
How
about Rwanda? Is that close enough? Land of the Rwandans.
That doesn't count though. That's weird. Mexico. It means Mexicans live here. That's weird. I don't think that's a very good translation.
That's not what it says in here.
Mexico. In the navel of the moon. Is that the man on the moon's belly button or in the belly button of the man on the moon? Very nice. Okay, Joe, what's next?
Yeah. So. Okay. We got. Let's see if I can bring it up. So. I'm going to read this first. So there's a shocking discovery about. Well, let me just read the headline. Shocking discovery about bathroom hand dryers stuns scientists. Have you heard this news item before?
Oh, shocking stuns. I don't know. Are people getting electrocuted?
No.
If they're not, that's a bad headline. It sounds like people are getting electrocuted.
It was a generic headline that didn't give away what the issue. Oh, great! My computer froze for a second. Okay, okay. So I am going to bring it up as I read these alternate headlines. Experts warn hand dryers are high-speed poo particle sprayers.
Sheldon Cooper warned about this like 10 years ago almost.
Where is it? There it is.
That's awful.
Yeah, hand dryers are spraying you with hot turd particles. New study shows hot air dryers suck poop particles in bathroom and sprays them all over you.
You know, I think innately my son knows that because he's terrified of those things. And not from like the sound when he was younger, he didn't care. But then when he got older, he's just like, not going to use it. Yeah, Sheldon Cooper said, those bacteria-ridden things, you may as well hire a midget to sneeze my hands dry. I don't know why a midget. But
Some more modern ones have, you know, HEPA filters in them that reduces the likelihood of that, but they're actually a pretty concentrated source of bathroom bacteria. So
yeah, I don't use them. I don't need to use them. I don't wash my hands.
Oh yeah, that's
I'm
great.
just kidding. Yeah, I saw somebody post that. Was that you who posted?
Probably. I hate.
Beware.
You would be amazed how many people don't even wash their hands, or they just walk in and they kind of like.
No, I've been in men's rooms before.
Sprinkle their hands, walk out. And it's like it makes me want to, like, just carry around some paper signs everywhere and just like slap it on their back as they walk out. Yeah. I didn't wash my hands.
See, that's what augmented reality is going to be good for. You can just
mark people.
You can put a little tag on him and digitally, and he'll walk around and it'll be like, "Don't touch this man's hands,"
or anything that he touches.
Yes.
Or anyone else that touches that whatever he touched.
Yeah.
Oh, bacteria and Ben. Bacteria is like wet paint; it spreads everywhere. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't bring this up when we talked about the mystery crapper.
Those go together, strangely. Yeah.
I must have forgotten because this has been in the news for a while. Okay, other news. Tourists in Utah, a state park, or I think it's a national park in Utah, are throwing dinosaur footprints into a lake. And
what? Why? Wait, are they doing it on purpose?
Yes, they're doing it on purpose. They're breaking off pieces of sandstone and skipping it or tossing it into the water.
Do they know that they're doing this with dinosaur footprints?
Probably not.
Do they think it's like, oh, look, it's walking on water?
There's signs everywhere that say not to disturb the area. So people do it anyway. Yeah. So maybe a dinosaur like this came all that way just to be chucked into a lake. Don't even get to be analyzed. Millions of years.
Yeah, it's probably just a bunch of Boy Scouts. You know how dumb Boy Scouts can be, right?
It's just random tourists. One was I think Cub Scout aged kid. Don't know if he was in the Scouts.
I remember a couple years ago a scout troop in, I think it was like Moab. It's someplace in Utah. They took a video of them pushing over one of those giant rocks that the water ends up like putting it on like a tiny little point. And so they rolled the rock down, and you could tell by like the attitude and the noise they were making, they're doing it for fun. But then they defended it by saying, well, it looked unsafe, so we figured it should be a controlled descent rather than a random drop. This could fall on somebody, so we knocked it over so that didn't happen. Interesting. So
just a bad idea.
Yeah. Speaking of Boy Scouts and news, we talked about last week the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts combining, which apparently I looked a little more into. Apparently the reason they're doing that is because the Boy Scouts have been hemorrhaging money for years. And so they're like, we have like this entire untapped demographic for us, like, half the population that's the age group we cater to. So let's just invite the Girl Scouts on and we'll get better funding. By the way, they push cookies way better than we push popcorn. So they're trying to get all that. I don't know if they can keep the Girl Scout franchise. I don't know if they bought that part of it.
I feel like Girl Scout, I think from my research, this is not the Girl Scouts merging with the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
Or with BSA.
Well, that's what I mean. But like Girl Scouts, I think, is going by the wayside. Like it's collapsing and Boy Scouts is starting to collapse. And so they're like, why don't we just rescue all the Girl Scouts? Not the organization, but the actual girls. Bring them over here and then we'll survive. Yay.
I haven't heard anything about Girl Scouts collapsing.
Well, I heard them talking about the money problems they were having a year ago. But they didn't talk about them merging at that
cookies point. Like that, really?
So, right? I used to have to. I tried when I was a Boy Scout, we would try to do those selling popcorn fundraisers. Never worked. Nobody buys popcorn from somebody on the, hey, you want some popcorn? I have to be in the mood for popcorn to want to buy popcorn.
So you have to give them popcorn and a movie.
Do you want some Thin Mints? Actually, I'm on a diet, but since you asked, sure. So, in news this week, the Mormon Church to sever its 105-year-old ties to the Boy Scouts at the end of 2019. They are phasing out.
I saw this pop up all over the place in the last week, but it's not news, is it? We knew about this last year, didn't
They
we?
had announced the plan to, but they just decided when. They initially said at this time, because they said we're phasing this out at some point. We're making the move, and then they just announced when that would be. Partways December 31st, 2019. So it's their New Year's resolution to no longer Boy Scout next year. Well, actually, year after next. Let's see.
Yeah, I was thinking it's just more like they would take the girls who weren't interested in Girl Scouty things. You know, who wanted to do more outdoorsy activities, hiking, camping.
Well, you know, the Girl Scouts are supposed to do those kinds of activities. They're just not as popular, as far as I know. My understanding has always been that they just, do you know anybody who was a Girl Scout as a girl?
I do, but I don't really know much about them. I know girls who wish they could have been in Boy Scouts and didn't find Girl Scouts very attractive.
I have heard that from that age group of girls saying, you know, we wouldn't mind going out and learning fire safety and how to use an axe properly and things, since no one's allowed to carry knives anymore. All right, so it does say that the church plans to replace all existing activity programs for boys and girls, young women, and young men in 2020. So it's not going to be. There will be a replacement, and they will be replacing it with something else. So here's something cool. Whoa, captured my cursor.
Captured your mouse.
Yeah, your face rig program is actually a mousetrap. If I click on it, the cursor won't leave the edges. In highly interesting tech news, I don't know how many of you guys saw this. Google had its Google I/O, which is cute because I/O stands for in-out. So it usually means the ports on a computer, but this week they had their conference, which is Google I/O. Google just gave a stunning demo of an assistant making an actual phone call. Not a person assistant. Google Assistant. That thing that you're like, okay, Google.
This was really interesting.
My phone didn't go off. Okay. Hopefully none of your phones just went off. Yeah, this was actually really creepy and really cool at the same time. I'm mixed. I have mixed feelings about this. So we're going to watch this. This is Google Assistant actually calling someone for you. Check this out.
Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd.
Let's say you want to ask Google to make you a haircut appointment on Tuesday between 10 and noon. What happens is the Google Assistant makes the call seamlessly in the background for you. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you. Let's listen.
How can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second.
That's awesome.
Sure, what time are you looking for around? At 12 p.m. We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15. Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.?
And,
Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for? Just a woman's haircut for now. Okay, we have a 10 o'clock. 10 a.m. is fine. Okay, what's her first name? The first name is Lisa. Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd. Okay, great. Thanks. Great. Have a great day. Bye.
Can anyone say Turing test?
I have no idea what you just said, but if that isn't freaky, I don't know what is. I wonder if you can dial up or down the amount of upspeak that she has when somebody asks a question and she answers it like it's a question. What was the name? Lisa?
Yeah.
Is the name Lisa? You don't sound sure. You want that technology. It's part of Google Assistant. I don't know if they've rolled it out yet. I was looking to see if it had already, in this article, it didn't say whether it was already part of it in the next update or whether it's part of Google P. Google P is which is another thing they officially announced, the next operating system, because they got tired of coming up with dessert names that start with the letters. Because if you guys don't know, Google operating systems go through letters: ice cream sandwich, Kit Kat, I forget what L was, nougat, things like that. So we're currently on Oreo. Next is Google P. That's the new thing. So I'm assuming it will come out with that. What did you say? Turing test? Turing test?
Turing. Yep.
What's a Turing
It's a test developed in 1950 by Alan Turing.
I've heard that.
And basically the test is, can a machine or artificial intelligence exhibit enough intelligent behavior to pass for a person?
Well, the way he was talking, it didn't sound terribly intelligent. So,
well,
but I've heard people who talk like that.
Currently, the only thing they have to do is, fool a person into believing that they're talking to a real person.
I wonder if it's going to give an alert saying, like, this is a call from a Google Assistant. And then you hear, like,
that's cheating.
Are they going to tell you, this call is being recorded for, purposes? Technically, that's what they're doing. A recording of that, or a text, what do you call it? A transcription of that is going to be saved in Google Assistant. The same way transcription of everything you're always saying to your phone, whether you're waking it up or not, it has to know. Writes all that down. So yeah, that's kind of cool. This
is like next. This isn't even just a chat window. This is actual speech in real time. So
yeah, it makes it in the background. You don't even hear that phone call.
Yeah.
You just say, Google Assistant, do this. It's like, cool. And okay, I fixed it. It's good. I made your appointment. I wonder if it'll be like, here's what was said. Probably. That would make sense.
Was a real.
So no, don't talk anymore. So another thing that they're going to be next level AI stuff. No. The rest of this was lame and more in depth about. Oh, look, if it goes, if the thing gets confused, it will end the conversation in a cordial and proper manner. Like, oh, okay, that's new information. I'll have to call you back. That kind of thing. So. Let me know in the chat. What do you think about that? Is that cool? Is that creepy? We talked a lot over the last year about all the creepy but cool tech stuff, and specifically, the balance between privacy and convenience, and the balance between technological convenience and just computers doing way too much for us. So I'm curious to know what you guys think about that. Yeah, next-gen social engineering. And the weird thing is, after a short while, it's going to be Google talking to Google. You're going to be calling a receptionist. That receptionist is going to be a Google Assistant. You already talk to those menus that are like when you call a place.
Yeah, the directory.
Yeah, and it's like, just say what you're calling about in a few short, in a short description, and then you say it, and what do you hear? You hear, okay, cool. It's an automated assistant. No one's typing anything, but they add typing noises.
I've never heard typing noises.
You've never heard that?
No.
I think it's Verizon that does that, or Comcast. They actually add typing noises so that you feel like someone is typing down the answer you just said. So while it's loading and it's processing what you said to try and figure out what it's gonna, no, it's my bank that does that. Yeah, there's actual typing noises. Either that or all of their people at their call center sound exactly the same and have really weird speech patterns. One of those two things is true.
Did they have peculiar accents?
No. You know that Google accent? That's a thing. It's gonna be a thing if
Google
it's not.
accent.
Yeah, Google accent.
Sounds like a product. Did they already release a product called Google Accent? I bet they did.
Somebody has. Something like that. Let's see. Amor Pizza had said, I want that technology. I missed a comment. Ben said, Girl Scouts competes with Boy Scouts bitterly. Girl Scouts is doing fine. Is it really? And made a statement about how they're not worried. Pfft, they are. Cookies are the reason. Every company says that before they have to officially go, yeah, no, we're doing totally fine. And just kidding, we're going under. We've been going under for a while, but we have to put up a brave face. You're probably right, but I like to be pessimistic for some reason. Amor Pizza says, oh no, Ben says, it scares me to death. Who needs salespeople if Google can do it? Frowny face. That's not true. Trust me. Yeah, salespeople are always going to be necessary.
If nothing else, to train the AI.
Exactly. Well, I have always had good experiences with salespeople when it comes to buying musical instruments. Somehow I always end up spending less money than I expected to, getting a better thing than I was looking at. Weird. Every time I'm walking to music shops, they're like, that's cool, but here's a better thing, and it's actually a little bit cheaper. Google ain't going to do that for you. All right, Amor Pizza says it is really creepy. But of all the tech improvements coming out, that one looks like the one that's most useful. Yep, combine this with voice mimics, and Trump can call all of his supporters directly. Imagine that. Oh, yeah. One thing that they mentioned in that video was they can do, they can have it call, like Google can actually do this themselves. They can have that device call people on like holidays. They can call businesses, like small businesses, and update it like, oh, what are your hours today? And they'll be like, oh, today we're only open till noon because it's Thanksgiving. They're like, okay, thank you. And then Google will update their... Stop, I'm not talking to you.
It's listening to you.
Turn off my phone. Then that company will update on this website what current hours are, so that small business doesn't have to answer a bajillion phone calls about whether or not they're open that day. How cool is that? Turning off my phone because it's listening to me. It's still going to listen anyway. I have to take the battery out. Yes, so that and...
Did you see that last comment? Second to last comment.
Now only if you can have the same tech answer phone calls from telemarketers and lead them on a goose chase. Yes. Oof, that would be... And
then what if the telemarketers are also an AI?
You get home and there's like 3 terabytes of... yes, virtual assistant, please answer my telemarketing calls. Is that it? Did I miss one?
No, I was just pointing to my screen.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I can't see yours currently. Yes, this is a picture of Google Assistant arguing Google Assistant. You come home and it's like, your phone is full, and it's like, full of what? Full of text. That's right, text. Doesn't take up much space, but we've been talking really quickly for like 36 hours in the background. You didn't know it. So we drained your battery and filled your phone with just sheets after sheets of us saying the same things over and over again. But guess what? I won the conversation. He hung up in a huff. Says you're a Google Assistant.
What did they talk about?
Yeah, Siri is no match for Google Assistant. All right. Oh, one other thing they announced, which is really cool, is the why is it not listed here? Their new camera app, Google Lens, which is a lot like what they tried to do with the Google glasses, where it sees things and it processes them, but the technology sucked, and so did the device. So it will the camera will have pretty much all of Google's things, Google Translate, Google Search Engine, Google Images, and things. It will all be built into the Google Camera app. And as you're looking at things, it will be able to tell you what it is you're looking at, and not just that is a stop sign and it says stop. Would you like it translated into different languages? You know, you can set translate to English, and you can walk around Hong Kong and point it at the signs and it will translate those. But that's simple stuff, you know. Hey, there's text, a solid thing that looks like a Chinese symbol, different colors in the background, and it'll translate it. That's cool, but that's not as impressive as you see somebody wearing a cool pair of shoes and you, on the down low, kind of just pointed at it, and it's like, oh, you can get those for $40 at the store at the other end of this mall. That's the kind of thing it will do. It will literally tell you what it is that it's looking at. And if it's not sure, it will say, I think that's a painting. And he'll be like, yeah, that's a painting. And it's like, okay, cool. I thought so. So that's going to be super helpful. Another thing that they have coming is, we talked about this a long time ago, prophetic foreseeing. They have they have augmented reality driving and walking directions on Google Maps. So through your camera, it will show you turn here, and floating in midair through your camera, just like a Pokemon. You'll see arrows and a little line showing you where you need to go. The world is getting more and more convenient. So yeah, there's that. Pretty soon there won't even be lines on the road. They'll just be virtual lines. That because improving safety is, of course, the most. Over here.
Where's my solar freaking roadways?
Yeah, whatever happened to those? That is one of the most disappointing. No, it's not disappointing. It's overhyped. That was one of the most overhyped technologies in the world. Except for the possibly VR. There's been hype for decades on that, though, and it's actually improving. Have you seen solar roadways? Like the actual progress they've made? No, there isn't any. There isn't any. It took them like 5 years, and they built like 10 hexagons in like a small cluster in somewhere in Canada in like a park, and they roped it off because it really couldn't even take foot traffic. And
Didn't
a
they
couple
also
of
put
them,
it in France?
maybe. This was like a year or so ago. And then like a couple of them, like they didn't even go in evenly, so water got in, and like half of them shut down because they shorted out from the rain. And like all of that money that was piled, you guys remember? All that money piled at it, and we wound up with 10 of them that don't actually do half of what they said they would. But, you know, the possibilities are endless. Got to be careful with those tech things that sound way better than they actually are.
Yeah.
All right, so what, you think they're...
Just takes a while to get the mass production beast up and running.
Well, you know, that's a good point. Solar roadways is not something you can market privately to early adopters.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, it's probably extremely limited. I'm sure there were a couple very secluded areas where they're like, let's put this in.
Google that real quick. Solar roadways. Try and see if there's any actual updates on that for me, please.
I mean, I'm looking at news articles.
Anything promising?
Idaho business wants you to drive on sunshine. Solar roadways takes one step closer to mass production. Nah. Solar roadways brings home the gold on CBS's Innovation Nation competition.
What
that was April 30th.
April 30th of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
6 solar roads shaking up infrastructure around the world.
Good.
Electric powered roads start to emerge.
I'm gonna look into that for next week. We'll talk about the actual things that did or did not happen with solar freaking roadways.
This is a blog, but it says China's solar road will charge cars as they drive. I think that's just in the future works. I don't think there's anything.
Yeah. We should just hand it to Elon Musk. He is really good at getting a lot of government money and then dumping it into a project until he just forces it. Just kept throwing money at it. Where'd you get all the money? Shh. I just kept throwing money at it. And eventually it worked because that's what you do. You get smart people and a lot of money. All right. Unless you had anything else, I want to start talking about the best, newest Marvel experience. The Avengers Infinitive experience. Let me know in the chat how many of you guys have seen Infinity Wars, so that we can judge how quickly we want to move into actual deep discussion about the finer points. Spoilers. So let's see. They'd be useless in LA since the roads are covered in cars all the time. Yeah, there were a lot of problems. What do you call that? Oversights. There were a lot of oversights about things like that. But, you know, the idea is they can store the energy so that, you know, in LA at that time of day when the sun is up but people aren't on the roads, that time, they'll do it then. I don't know why they don't just cover the top of every building in solar panels. Like every building in LA. Nobody uses the top of every building in LA.
They're trying to do that in New Jersey. Some people don't like how they look, apparently.
I don't like how they look. Person across the street has them. Cute little house. The ones that are so small, but they're like perfectly square. They just have, you know, single A-frame roof, just covered in these, and they're not even lined up. It's a straight roof. It's a square rectangle. It's a perfect rectangle on both sides, and they've got these like slats all like unevenly. It's stupid, poorly done. It's all right. Elon Musk is working on that.
I thought it
He's
looked
throwing
great.
money at it. You thought it looks great?
Yeah,
The
but
one
I
across
have
the street?
I have a taste for practicality and functionality over.
You mean
Aesthetic.
it looks like it works great?
Yeah.
Not it looks great.
No, I mean if that translates to looking great for me, so.
All right.
But yeah, I'm sure when those actual
Shingles.
roof shingle solar tiles come out,
Maybe.
they'll look much better.
Hopefully. Okay. So Ben said he saw it opening night. I don't know how much Amor Pizza cares about this movie, or saw it, or doesn't want it spoiled, or does. But we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna start talking about just briefer, lighter, general, overarching things. Let us know what you thought about it in the chat. Me, for myself, I enjoyed it mostly because I don't care anymore about the Marvel Universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU, as I saw somebody put it. What was it? The massively cankled unicorn in the MCU. I stopped caring like 10 movies ago. I missed like 3 in a row, and then they're like, the new one's coming out. And I'm like, I lost the plot so long ago, I stopped caring. So I did my homework before this one. I watched the Wizard one, Doctor Strange. One of my favorite superhero movies out of all the superhero movies. Very well done. Cumberbatch, beautiful choice for that role. So I watched that in preparation. I finally saw for the first time right before the movie, like the day of, I watched for the first time, the day of seeing the movie, earlier that day, I watched Doctor Strange and Civil War. I hadn't seen Civil War. Those apparently were the two that I should have watched. I didn't see not Avengers of the Galaxy. I didn't see Guardians of the Galaxy 1 or 2.
You
That
should.
played a bit. I'm going to have to.
At least the first one.
Yeah, the second one's on Netflix. The first one isn't. And
Well,
I did
I
not
own
see.
the first one, so.
I didn't really. I was going to ask you that day, but I was prioritizing, and
Yeah.
I had to prioritize Doctor Strange. I did not see Age of Ultron, which isn't good. I did not see other. Was there another? Oh, Winter Soldier. I didn't actually see Winter Soldier. I thought I had, but then I went back and looked. I didn't see that one. I didn't see Ant-Man.
You saw the import. You saw Civil War.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of the individual movies, but the movie was still enjoyable. Like I said, I kind of lost the plot, but going in thinking this is going to be entertaining, it was. The action, I usually don't like superhero action because it's so unrelatable, you know, like slinging webs and swinging around and knocking over giant people. Well, right. I missed the opportunity to see it. I didn't go, I don't feel like watching that. I don't see a lot of new movies. Most of my media consumption is secondary to what I'm doing. And so I rewatch old sitcoms because that's really Big Bang Theory, The Office, currently Frasier. I'm trying to get my I'm trying to get my vocabulary up, and you can either read more or watch Frasier. So I'm watching Frasier. But I don't have the opportunity to sit down and focus on a movie, which you have to do with these movies. The action I thought was very well done. There's always those new things where they do something cool with their special abilities that you didn't think of before. You're like, oh, that's very cool. They do a portal style, orange portal, blue portal thing where they open 2 portals next to each other. One is in, one is out, and then they take the bad guy's projectile and launch it right back at him. I thought that was pretty clever, very smart. They didn't have to like coordinate. They were both ins, but there was no out. Like that would have been bad.
Yes.
Yes, but the whole movie was about Guardians meeting the Avengers. A lot of it was. Yes, you're right. I don't know what I'm missing. It is really hard when it's inconvenient to try and make things work. It's difficult to justify it when you don't know how good the movie's actually going to be. Luckily, Ben, I got a great recommendation that Doctor Strange was good. And out of necessity, I finally got around to it. It was amazing. Thank you. I thought the character development was low, but higher than you would expect for a movie with, I think it was 57 main characters. And only a couple hours to put all of that into.
So you're talking about Infinity War,
movies.
not Doctor
Yes,
Strange.
I'm sorry. I've come back to Infinity War. I thought that was really well put together. That they crammed all of that into that amount of time. I thought the movie was segmented very well, with specific scenes and locations and groups and things. So I was happy generally the way it was all put together. What are your thoughts, Joe, before I go farther on that? Do you like it?
My thoughts?
Yeah, on that. Do you agree with any of what I just said, or did you hate the movie and thought it was clunky?
I didn't think it was clunky. No, it's for having so many different viewpoints and characters. It flowed pretty nicely and didn't become like repetitive, I should say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, would I recommend it?
Yeah, would you recommend it to somebody who hasn't seen any Marvel movies? If somebody's like, I think I'm going to go see that, and I don't want to watch any other Marvel movies, will it be enjoyable?
No, you need some backstories to care about people.
Yeah, that opening
scene. To understand
scene,
what's happening.
That opening scene would be kind of meaningless without.
Yeah, you definitely need. Yeah, I would recommend Iron Man, Civil War, maybe the first Avengers movie.
Not the second one. I didn't see the second one. So there were a couple characters I had no idea who they were, but I had Joe there. I leaned over and was like, who the heck is this guy? Vision. I had no idea who he was or where he came from. But Joe was like, he's this, and this.
He's Jarvis.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Jarvis. That happened in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
And that was kind of, I don't know, Age of Ultron wasn't really the greatest. Basically, you got Vision out of it, and you got...
The girl with the force fields and the telekinesis. Never seen her before. Was she introduced in that movie?
She doesn't pop up very often. That's just kind of like to the side.
Okay. So, all right.
She was introduced at like the end scene of a movie. I don't like the after credit scene. I mean, and yeah, I don't remember if I mentioned obviously Guardians of the Galaxy is on that list.
Yeah.
Yeah. See a couple movies. Get to know some of the characters. There's good things in there.
Yeah, like I said, I'd expected to be disappointed.
Yeah,
Black Panther was good. You know what? It's funny because I started to lose interest in them. Like I said, I'll see them when I see them. And then the ones that I have actually seen, I've been like, this is actually really good. This one's actually really good. I don't know why I started to feel like they wouldn't be or something, but now I'm surprised every time they're good. Ben said it feels like a season finale before the last season of a 10-year show. Pretty
succinct,
pretty accurate. Yeah. All right, so we already gave spoiler alert, but I'm gonna start digging into those real quick. Oh yeah, of course. Da 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 da. In case you can't read,
I like that car in the bottom left corner.
What the heck?
It's a spoiler.
Spoiler alert! Yeah, it's like 9 spoilers on it. Spoiler alert, Hillary wins. What? Is that a joke or is that premature? Funny.
It's funny.
It is funny. All right, so the obvious spoiler and obvious topic of discussion.
People die.
The deaths. There was kind of pushed. A lot of people had talked about it beforehand. They're like, I wonder who's going to die. Somebody's got to die. We know it's going to die. It's going to turn out really poorly for everybody or at least somebody. And of course, this is what everyone thought. I thought it was going to be Iron Man. Everybody said it's either going to be Iron Man or it's going to be Captain America because those are like the two like factions, especially from Civil War. Those are like the two heads of the pulling in different directions for the Avengers. And they both have had several individual movies. They've both been highly featured in the group movies. So go ahead and kill one or both of those characters. I was emotionally prepared for that to happen. Didn't happen. And they knew you wanted that to happen, and they knew you'd be disappointed that didn't happen. Who did they kill off? Everybody who has a franchise already planned for their individual movies already listed, whatever, announced. They've already announced continuing movies for the people that they did kill off.
But those movies could be prequels, of course.
No, that's not how that works. That's not how they do that. They're not gonna go X-Men style and start doing 15 years after he first played the role of Wolverine. Let's do the ones where he's younger. Let's do the movie when he's 50, when he's almost 50 years old. We'll do the ones where he's younger, and it works somehow. Speaking of younger, the scene where Robert Downey Jr., they were playing a memory of his. He was like introducing this new technology of him when he's younger. That was in Civil War. Dang it. That was in Civil War. I watched them both on the same day. And it's confusing.
Oh.
They made a very convincing young Robert Downey Jr. I've seen movies. I saw a bunch of movies from when he was younger. That's exactly what it looked like. How did they know? So the deaths I thought were disappointing, but like not like, oh no, they killed them all. It's like, really? That's what, because we all kind of know that that's not going to stick.
It could.
Yeah, it could, but like even if they're like, and they died forever, but we're bringing out more movies and you get to see them again, so it's not like they're gone. They're not gone. They're gone from here forward, but we're not even making movies from here forward, really. So, terrible cliffhanger. Hated it. The whole time, my issue with
That did not feel like a cliffhanger to me.
no, it wasn't like, oh no, what's gonna happen? It was like, you say there's a second movie coming.
Yeah.
How? Like, what's going to happen next? Because there's no possibility for next. That's the cliffhanger.
Well,
what's actually going to happen next?
From what Doctor Strange did mention something.
There was a lot of little hidden messages in there that you had to pick up on.
That and the symbol at the very, very, very end of the credits.
Yeah, wasn't that Captain
Marvel
or Mr. Marvel or Mr. Marvelous? Is it Captain Marvel?
Probably Captain Marvel.
I don't remember. I don't know. I've never seen or heard of the guy.
Probably a good thing because I think Captain Marvel is a woman.
There you go. Never heard of the person. The one thing I did not like, a lot of people were praising the tone of the movie as being, it's darker. We've seen a lot of these movies where like the good guys are fighting the bad guys, and it's like, oh no, are they going to lose? And then the good guys always win, and there's no real danger. There's no real feeling of, are they going to lose? But starting in the first scene, main characters start dying. And you start to feel really helpless against this bad guy who's unkillable. And every time they're like, we got him now, he just doesn't die. Like the green
Hulk,
green girl,
Gamora,
yeah, I was like, I'll remember this. She stabs him in the neck and he falls over dead, and then he's just like, just kidding, I control all of reality. Your weapons are now bubbles and your friends are in pieces on the floor. What can you do against that? Literally nothing. Yeah. They came this close to stopping him, but Thor has really bad aim. Why didn't he drop his arm off with his axe at the very end?
I think he was supposed to aim for the head.
Well, he could have removed the glove, and that would have worked well, too. I thought that's what he was going to go for, but apparently not. The whole thing felt like a slasher movie. If you've ever seen a slasher movie, the bad guy wanders around, killing at will, and everyone's like, oh no, what are we going to do? He's too powerful. Like Michael Myers from Halloween? Michael Myers from, I think, the Halloween movies. Everyone's trapped in a house and they're trying to get out, or they think they'll kill him. We've lit the house on fire. He's definitely dead. And he pops up at the end and stabs the main person you thought was going to live. And you're like, oh no. And they're like, haha, you thought somebody was going to survive this movie. That's what it felt like. That's not why I go see superhero movies. I go to see superhero movies to see the classic, iconic, good versus evil. Evil thinks it's all big and bad, but not as big and bad as Captain America, because he's Captain America. And, and yes, I get it. That gets old after a while. Some people want to see something different, but go see a slasher movie. I do not like when they end the movie with, oh, and the bad guy won, and the good guys died. And didn't see that coming, did you? I mean, yeah.
Wasn't all of the good guys though.
No.
And speaking of Thor, he is pretty OP, wouldn't you say?
He's a god. He's a literal god. He yeah. He has half the powerful unkillableness of Thanos. He already had that to start with. He's a god. So, yeah. Specifically, you were talking about the sun.
Yeah, was it really necessary for him to okay, so yeah, the forging part where I don't know, light of I don't think is how neutron stars work.
No,
but anyway,
but it's like the power of a star harnessed.
Yeah, literally passing through him while he was holding the door open.
Yeah, well, his armor was forged in that, which means that heat was hot enough to melt his armor. So why was he not naked after that? Just saying.
I mean, even his hair.
Speaking, yeah, his hair was
They
fine.
should have just made him bald. That would have been funny.
Yeah. Well, no, he's a god, and his hair is. He has to have like special scissors to cut it. I'm sure, forged in that same star. Here's the irony of that scene. Peter Dinklage, if you don't know, is a midget actor, dwarf actor, I think technically. He's a dwarf actor, and he's in Game of Thrones. He was in several other movies. He was in the movie Penelope, he was actually very good in. He's a very good actor. Apart from the fact that they throw him in roles because we need somebody who's 3.5 feet tall, and we need somebody to fill the bill. We'll get the best we can. Apart from he fills that bill, he checks that box, he's actually a fantastic actor, regardless of his special skill.
Stature.
So, yeah, he finally got to play the tallest person in the room, but he was still technically a dwarf. He played a giant dwarf, which I thought was ironic. But they had to lower his voice and make him look like he's moving slowly and everything. But it was nice to see him in that role. Yeah, I'm sure that conversation went pretty interestingly. Hey, you get to play a giant. Really? Dwarf. So close.
A giant dwarf or a dwarf giant?
A dwarf giant. Was that a dwarf star? Is that why? Is that why they call him that? So, yeah, that was my complaint. My one complaint was that the movie felt a little too dark and helpless, and some people are like, well, it's nice to have a movie every now and then. It keeps you on your toes, and it shows you the world really is a dark place. And yeah, but that's why they have other genres of movies. But just saying. And Ben said it was a two-parter cliffhanger. Now wait for it. And now the conclusion. Yeah, it's gonna be Thor, and he's like, last time on Avengers, and it's a little quick recap like they do on TV shows.
Do you see all of the things on Facebook, like Infinity Wars action figure, and like you open it up and it's like a bunch of sand?
The only disintegration or whatever they call that death that got me was, well, the only one that like
Spider-Man.
Well, it was the only one where he was just like, oh no, I'm going, oh no. Everybody else like Black Panther, he's like, come on, let's go, and then the camera pans back over and he's gone. He's going to help that chick up, the warrior lady, and he's like, come on, this is not a good place to die, and then he dies. But a lot of them were just like, and they're gone, and they're gone, and they're gone. Well, from the disintegration deaths, the Loki death was like a little gut-wrenching because you just watched him get choked out and die, and you were like, is he real? Wow, okay, he's actually dead. That sets a tone. Was the when he pulled the stone out of Vision's head, and like that was a little bit of a visceral reaction to him just like literally just being ripped apart. But then when he fell down and he rolled over and he had that dead robot face, like he was all grayed out, and his eyes were just like solid gray, and he was like a statue. That was like just all the life gone out of him, like he never even was. That was very well done to be as creepy as it was supposed to be. He got to die twice. Did you? I mean, like, obviously you saw that, but like, just think about that. He died twice. Mm-hmm. He had his head blown apart. Well, not his head. He had the thing blown apart on his head by his girl, and then rewind time, and then the guy gets to kill him himself. Like, that's rough.
I think he had it rough. You should see the end of Doctor Strange.
Oh! You're talking about the time loop thing? Yeah, oof. That was the first. Yeah. That's a discussion. I have a lot of things to say about, so I'm gonna avoid going off on that tangent. All right. Let's see. And for Iron Man having to watch everyone he loves and has fought for, yes, that was rough. That was, like I said, that death. Everyone on that planet died except him, and
all of that for a drop of blood.
Yeah. What was the? Okay, I lied. Gamora too. That was rough. Like, he just yeah. There was too much of a helpless element to that movie. I didn't like it. The superheroes are all dying. There's nothing they can do about it, and it's like, those are the superheroes. That's okay. All right.
Yeah, this is also the most powerful man in the universe.
The most powerful man in the universe is supposed to be a good guy. The most powerful man in the universe is supposed to be a good guy.
Acquiring a bunch of weapons.
Yeah, acquiring a bunch of weapons because people gave them to him. Here's a complaint I have about the plot. Like I said, enjoyed the movie, thought it was fun. Here's a complaint I have about the plot. Everyone handed him, except at the very end, everyone handed him those gems. Like, Gamora was like, okay, I'll tell you where it is. I know this is going to destroy half the galaxy, but you broke me. I'm going to give it to you. I told my boyfriend to kill me so that this didn't happen, but you've tugged on my heartstrings. I'm gonna hand you the destructive power of the entire, half the universe. Oh, like, that's not, Loki. Don't kill my brother. Here it is. And then he dies anyway. If he had died, would they ever have found that? He pulled it out of thin air. Did they know where in thin air it was? If he had died before handing it to them, movie over?
I guess he's really good at social engineering.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Doctor Strange. Here it is. Again, pulls it out of thin air. He hit it very well. The guy had no idea where it was, but he's just like, I'll torture your friends till you tell me. And everyone's like, oh, not torture my friends. Here, kill half the universe. I get it. The whole conversation they had about we don't trade lives, but you did though. But you did. You traded half the universe to not for your friend. Well, so it's confusing.
He had a specific vantage point.
Okay.
So you can't blame him.
Last part, since we're out of time.
Yeah.
Comments. I'm sure. Just keep going with those, and I'll try and catch them right before we end there, Ben. Strange did it on purpose though. He did, Joe. Not conspiracy theory. Your predictions for the next movie. Predictions for what happened and why. Just
for the next movie.
Yeah. What actually happened? What's going to happen? How's it going to be fixed? You don't have to be right. I won't hold you to it.
Well, Iron Man has some kind of knowledge. Thanos even mentioned it to him. So he's very key. His survival was very key. Doctor Strange sacrificed everything so that Iron Man would survive. And then you saw Nick Fury make that call to Captain Marvel. So that's going to be that's probably going to be a big part of that.
Yes, calling in more characters.
Yeah.
They couldn't afford to add Captain Marvel and keep all the other ones, so they had to slash their hiring budget and get rid of half of their multi-million-dollar hires.
Yeah. I don't know, is Hulk still around?
Hulk was. Yes, Hulk, Captain America, one of the chicks, I forget, was it Black Widow still there? I forget. Yeah. There's a list somewhere.
Like the original core Avengers, I think.
Except for the guy who put the Avengers together. So.
Which was Captain America?
No, it was Eye Patch guy.
Oh, Nick Fury. Well, he's not an Avenger.
Oh, no, I know. I'm just saying. Like, the originals, he was pre-original, but yes. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so... well, you have to go behind what is the motives of the supervillain.
To kill half the universe.
Why?
Well, okay, overpopulation. He said, my planet was dying and starving because of food and resources. And then, boom, half the people died and now they're fine. Or half the people would have died and they would have been fine. I don't know. There was a lot in that movie. It was dense. But he had gone around and killed half of... let's see. Oh, hey, the new Avengers sucks. I hated it so much. I'm not sure that... Why does everyone show up at 9? It's at 8. Whatever. That's a little strong. Yeah, but it wasn't his call. No, I agree. What was your point with his motive? Were you agreeing with it, or are you saying that are we going to find a different way to bring the people back?
I'd have to be a psycho to agree with his methods.
No, not like agree with his methods. Agree with his diagnosis of a problem, or can we just be like, actually, we found a whole planet of food, and we're going to bring everyone back, and it's going to be fine. I promise. Stop killing people.
It just seems like it's like nature's pruning. It's one of the reasons that bad guys exist. It prunes out
the bad guys.
It prunes out
so the good guys can kill the bad guys. We don't have them anymore.
Well, anyway, it's coming down to motive. Something I didn't realize is that he actually didn't have it. Like once he did the finger snap thing, all of the stones got scattered again. So
what?
He lost once he used the power of that gauntlet, it got scattered.
Well, once he used the power of the gauntlet,
So-
mission accomplished. Okay. Oh, well, then there you go. They just got to find the green stone, go to the top of the mountain, learn how to use the special wushu, and just turn that clock and keep turning it and keep turning it and keep turning it until
Well,
time goes, back to
You
the way it
see
was.
Doctor Strange, so you know there's certain issues with time. There's certain points.
Oh no, let's not mess up the universe for the half the people still here. I know what you mean. Do you think time is going to undo the disintegration deaths at the end? Well, two questions. Do you think that all of those deaths are going to stick? As far as this movie
Well,
and
there
the sequel
are
goes.
some theories that those deaths. Well, I mean, we did see Gamora at the end. So it was perhaps they were inside the Soul Stone. That's some people's theories.
Or maybe they're in the mirror dimension.
So
Maybe that's where they go.
I think we would know if they were in the mirror dimension. Even
How would we
try
know?
to.
They wouldn't even know.
Doctor Strange brought that
Can
up.
you imagine? Oh my gosh. Okay, here's a perfect opener for the next movie, right? A replay of the last scene of the previous movie. It starts out boom and those rollers are rolling and everyone's fighting and you're like, "Okay, we're watching this again." But when everyone disintegrates, the other half that didn't disintegrate and the other half that did are like, "What's going on?" They were shifted to the mirror dimension and we're now watching it from their perspective. They think everyone else died, but actually everyone else stayed in the normal dimension and they went in the mirror dimension. To show you like, "Oh, you thought they all died. Let's follow them into where they all went." That's not going to happen. But
Where
how
would
cool
that,
would it be
where could you go with that?
to unlock it and figure out how to free them and get them out? Or I don't know. There's a million. It's the mirror dimension. It could fracture and go in a million different ways. All right. So let's see. It was supposed to be a good, happy ending, and it wasn't. I agree. I thought it felt like a slasher movie.
I think they're
and it was
saving a good
irritating.
happy ending for the next movie.
Well, why? No. Why did he go all Shrek and like disappear off into the woods and sit on a hill and be like, everything's right with the world? He was like in a cabin up on a green hill watching the sunset.
Because that's what he said.
Yes, I know, but that's a terrible. That's what happens when the movie ends the way you want it to, and then Shrek gets to go back to the
ended
forest.
the way he wanted it to.
I'm talking about me.
I don't care about Shrek.
Okay, so the universe is really big. They can end on us seeing anywhere in the universe, showing us anything they wanted. They chose to show us, here's the bad guy, and he's very happy he won. Not in an evil, maniacal way. In a content, sit on a green hill, I'm happy with myself, I'm going to be fine with my evil doings
he thought
forever.
he was-
My conscience is clear, is what it looked like.
It was clear. He thought he was doing a great thing.
I know, but what message does that send as a moviegoer? I mean, it's confusing. That's all. It's emotionally confusing.
I think most of us know that he was in the wrong, but he doesn't know that. Maybe that's what the next movie is going to be about.
That's why it should be this maniacal ending of him being like, it's fine, it's good, it's perfect. Ha! The world is but it's like dark and thunder, and it's like, oh no, the world is wrecked, but he thinks it's fine. No, it looked like the world was fine, the universe was fine. It looked like all was right with the world, not just through his eyes.
Well,
but
it didn't end with that sunset thing, because that's
no,
Gamora.
the last scene.
That was
the last scene
that was
showing him, not the last
that
image.
that's like the key to his heart right there.
That is true. They just have to get the Soul Stone and go back to the Red Skull dude. He's actually called Red Skull. Did you know that? I was right. He's the bad guy from the first Hellboy movie.
Never seen it.
He's like a Nazi with a red skull for a face. Yeah, it was weird because he popped up and I'm like, that's not just a random character. That's like a super villain from a separate franchise. He was the main villain, and you're just kind of sitting there like, yeah, you don't want to be here. Trust me, this place sucks.
Yes.
All right, so final thoughts from the chat. My final thought: I did not like the way it ended, but if it was an actual ending to a one-part movie, I would not recommend it, and I would never see a Marvel movie ever again. But there's a second one. It's coming out, what, in a year?
Yeah.
Year and a bit? So
Watch everything on it that how it should have ended puts out. 'Cause
yes.
It's great.
Yeah. That is... I did go and satisfy some of my frustration with a bunch of... Like, when I got home late at night, I was, like, flipping through a bunch of fan... theories on like what's going to happen next and things that you may have missed that are leading to the next one to make myself feel a little bit better. So, so yeah, now I have to go back and watch Ant-Man and a couple of the other ones that matter.
You know, technically, oh yeah,
that it?
that's
That's the only one
actually
that
that's
matters?
actually a theory. That one may matter for the next movie because he wasn't in.
I would
This
hope
one.
so. I would hope that would
He
matter.
wasn't in this one.
He wasn't.
So
Hawkeye
the
wasn't.
quantum
And
quantum realm might come into play. That was a theory, which
Who-
you don't
who
know
else?
about because you didn't see that movie.
yeah, they're coming out with another Ant-Man. I think that's next. Ant-Man and Hornet or something. Wasp. Ant-Man and Wasp. The Ant-Man and the Wasp. You should see the Hulk actor who spoiled the movie over a year ago in an interview. Funny because no one believed him. Oh yeah. No, that was a semi joke.
BT Dubs.
What?
Hulk, I guess technically is a good guy. He was the most powerful until Mr. T got his gauntlet.
Oh, Mr. T. Nice. Mark Ruffalo was the actor. I did see that. There was an interview with Don Cheadle, who plays the other guy in the suit. Bucky? No. I don't know. Not Bucky. The other guy who wears
The Angel.
Maybe. No,
Like,
the
I
guy.
mean, he calls him the Winged Angel. Or
No, the other black guy who's in the Iron Man suit. The guy who's in the gray Iron Man suit. The military Air Force officer.
yeah, his friend.
Yeah, not the guy in the big wing suit, but the guy in the Iron Man suit. There's two guys floating around. One of them carries machine guns and has big, wide metal wings. The other guy flies in an Iron Man suit with a mask on. Anyway, he was in an interview with Mark Ruffalo at the same time being interviewed, and Mark Ruffalo was like, what does he say? Like, everybody dies, the bad guy wins. I forget what he said, but it was like a spoiler. And Don Cheadle's like, oh, you're not supposed to say that. He's like, oh, no. Can you erase that part? But you could tell they were like goofing, but they were telling the truth, and they played it off like it was a joke. No. No, I've seen a lot of interviews with Mark Ruffalo, and that's kind of his personality. When he's being serious, he's less chill than that. That was his like, oh, I'm not really sure what's going on. I'm chill. I assume. I don't know. I could be calling it wrong. I don't know. I wasn't in his head. Anyway, I'm probably going to see the movie a second time when it comes out on DVD, not in the theater, just to try and wrap my head around all the stuff that was in there. It was dense. It was a dense movie, but it was a good movie. I would recommend it. Joe would recommend it.
If
people in the chat.
if you have the background stories,
All the
on
people in the
what's
chat would
going
recommend
on.
it. Yep. So, and Guardians of the Galaxy, I'll go see Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man and be all caught up on my proper.
Yeah, I think you probably like
Marvel
Ant-Man
Cinematic
too. It was funny.
He was great in Civil War. His
You liked his personality.
His
Yeah, I think
personality
you would like him.
fit really well
Yeah.
in there. It was good. I've always liked that actor. Anyway, all right. So that's gonna about do it for the show for this week. What did I say we were gonna talk about next week? I already forgot.
What was it?
I said I'll look into that and we'll talk about it next week.
Scouts?
No, that's what I looked into from last week to this week. I
Was
forget.
it something to do with the movie or some other topic?
It was some other topic. Never mind. I'll watch the playback
Yeah, yeah.
and we'll see. So
Luckily, we got a recording.
we do.
Maybe it was Solar Freaking Roadways.
That was exactly what it was. It was Solar Freaking Roadways. We're gonna look up Solar Freaking Roadways. We're gonna give you guys an update on where all of that has gone or hasn't gone. I don't know. So yeah, thanks for being in the chat, everybody. Thanks for commenting. If we spoiled the movie for anybody, it's your fault, not mine. We gave like 36 spoiler alerts on screen. So
By the way, it doesn't have an apostrophe.
what did I say? It's. Where's it?
You'll find it.
Oh, no. Oh, wait. In the title of the show? Wait, it's not supposed to have an apostrophe? Or it doesn't have one and it needs one?
It's not supposed to.
Figures. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Grammar police.
I can edit it after the fact. I'm about to go fix that.
Yeah.
Everybody in the show is going to be like, wait, but it is fixed.